In a world often overwhelmed by tragedy and despair, there are moments when acts of kindness rise above the noise, offering a glimmer of hope for those who need it most. One such moment came when football icon Cristiano Ronaldo, renowned for his brilliance on the field, turned his attention to a far greater cause: the lives of families suffering in a famine-stricken region. With a heart as big as his talent, Ronaldo's unexpected gesture of donating food supplies not only transformed the lives of those in need, but also sparked a global wave of compassion. What happened next was a powerful reminder that even the most challenging circumstances can be changed by a single act of generosity. The script begins with a vivid and emotional depiction of a famine-struck region, immediately drawing the audience into the harsh realities faced by the affected community. The camera pans across barren landscapes where the earth is cracked and the vegetation has withered under the relentless sun. There's an eerie silence in the air, broken only by the occasional gust of dry wind. The imagery conveys a stark sense of hopelessness, showing that this is a land where even the most basic necessities of life, food and water, are scarce. Amid this desolation, we are introduced to a small family living in a makeshift shelter made of scrap materials. A mother is seen sitting on the ground, holding her young child, who is crying out of hunger. Her face is etched with despair, her eyes reflecting the pain of not being able to provide for her family. She holds an empty bowl, a powerful symbol of the hunger and emptiness that defines their daily existence. Nearby, other families are shown scavenging for scraps of food or waiting in long lines for limited aid that is not enough to meet the demand. Children, often the most vulnerable in such crises, are portrayed as frail and weak, their malnourished bodies a haunting reminder of the devastating impact of the famine. Some are seen sitting listlessly, too weak to play, while others cling to their parents in search of comfort. The script takes a moment to focus on their eyes, which speak volumes about their suffering, innocence lost to the cruelty of hunger. The community's struggle is further emphasized through subtle background details. Empty water jugs, collapsed homes, and makeshift signs pleading for help underscore the severity of the crisis. The sounds of the scene, a faint rustling of wind, the distant cries of children, and the muted voices of parents comforting one another, enhance the emotional gravity. These details paint a heart-wrenching picture of a community on the brink of collapse, desperately in need of hope and relief. This opening sets the tone for the rest of the story, evoking empathy and urgency. It establishes the stakes clearly, showing the audience why the intervention of someone like Cristiano Ronaldo is not just generous, but also life-saving. The struggle depicted here creates a powerful contrast with the hope and change that will come later in the script, making Ronaldo's actions all the more impactful. The scene shifts to Cristiano Ronaldo's home, a quiet and serene setting that contrasts sharply with the dire circumstances in the famine-struck region. Ronaldo is sitting in his living room, a space that reflects his personality, comfortable yet understated, with trophies and memorabilia subtly displayed in the background. He relaxes on a couch, scrolling through news channels on his television, unwinding after a training session. As he flips through the channels, a segment on an international news outlet catches his attention. The headline reads, "Famine Crisis. Millions face hunger in desperate conditions." The news report is raw and unfiltered, showing the devastating effects of the famine. Ronaldo watches intently as the screen displays haunting images of skeletal children and families huddled together in makeshift camps. A reporter narrates the heartbreaking story of a young boy who lost his siblings to malnutrition. The footage is powerful, depicting the suffering of those struggling to survive, and the statistics of how many lives are at risk flash across the screen. The grim reality of the situation sinks in, and Ronaldo's usually composed demeanor shifts. His face reflects a mix of sadness and determination as the gravity of the crisis grips him. The report then transitions to an interview with an aid worker on the ground. The worker describes the dire need for food and clean water, emphasizing the lack of resources and the urgency of the situation. "If we don't act now," the worker warns, "thousands more could die." These words strike a chord with Ronaldo, known not only for his football prowess, but also for his humanitarian spirit. He leans forward, his focus sharpening. His expression conveys that he is not just watching passively, but internalizing every word, every image. Moved by the plight of the famine victims, Ronaldo picks up his phone. He calls a member of his team, his voice steady but urgent. "We need to do something about this," he says, his tone leaving no room for hesitation. Ronaldo's concern is evident, not as a global celebrity, but as a compassionate human being who cannot stand by and watch others suffer. He asks his team to gather information about the region, the scope of the crisis, and the most effective way to deliver help. The scene highlights Ronaldo's empathy and sense of responsibility. Despite his busy schedule and the demands of his career, he is shown as someone who takes action when it matters most. The moment is a reminder that compassion knows no boundaries and that even the smallest spark of concern can ignite meaningful change. Ronaldo's decision to act sets the stage for the impactful journey that follows, showing his commitment to using his influence for the greater good. Once Cristiano Ronaldo decides to take action, the scene transitions to his team mobilizing swiftly to turn his vision into reality. Ronaldo gathers his trusted advisors, including his charity team and logistics experts, for a meeting at his residence. The room is filled with a sense of urgency as everyone understands the gravity of the famine crisis and the importance of acting quickly. Ronaldo sits at the head of the table, actively engaged in the discussion, making it clear that he wants this mission to be efficient, impactful, and delivered with respect for the affected communities. The team starts by collaborating with a renowned international humanitarian organization that specializes in disaster relief and famine response. This organization, which has experience working in crisis-hit regions, provides critical insights into the specific needs of the affected population. They explain that food supplies such as rice, flour, lentils, cooking oil, and nutritional supplements for children are the top priorities. Additionally, they highlight the logistical challenges of delivering aid to remote areas, including rough terrains, lack of infrastructure, and ongoing conflicts that make transportation risky. Ronaldo listens attentively, asking thoughtful questions to ensure every detail is covered. "How can we make sure the food reaches the families who need it the most?" he asks, showing his commitment to accountability and transparency. The team discusses strategies, such as partnering with local organizations already on the ground, to ensure the aid is distributed fairly and efficiently. Ronaldo also insists on including a contingency plan to address unforeseen challenges, such as delays or adverse weather conditions, to guarantee the supplies reach their destination on time. In a montage sequence, the preparation unfolds. Trucks are loaded with sacks of rice, boxes of canned goods, and bottles of cooking oil, all bearing a discreet emblem acknowledging Ronaldo's contribution without overshadowing the focus on the cause. Special care is taken to include high-protein biscuits and milk powder for malnourished children. The supplies are carefully packed and labeled in the warehouse, with workers and volunteers double-checking everything to ensure quality and quantity. As the plans take shape, Ronaldo takes a moment to address his team. "This isn't just about delivering food," he says with determination. "It's about giving hope to people who feel forgotten. Let's make sure they know we care." His words resonate deeply with everyone in the room, fueling their motivation to execute the mission flawlessly. Finally, Ronaldo signs the donation agreement and personally covers the entire cost of the operation, demonstrating his commitment to the cause. His team works around the clock to finalize the details, from arranging the transport convoy to coordinating with the local authorities in the famine-struck region. The scene concludes with a convoy of trucks, fully loaded with food supplies, embarking on its journey to the affected area, carrying not just essential resources, but also a message of compassion and solidarity. The scene shifts to the famine-struck region as the convoy of trucks carrying food supplies approaches the community. Dust rises in the air as the vehicles roll into the area, flanked by aid workers and local volunteers. The arrival of the convoy creates a stir of excitement and relief among the residents. Word spreads quickly through the community, and people gather near the distribution center, a temporary setup in the heart of the region, to witness the much-anticipated arrival of help. For many in the crowd, this moment represents the first glimmer of hope in weeks, if not months. The faces of children, who had previously appeared weak and listless, now light up with smiles. Parents, who have struggled tirelessly to provide for their families, look on with expressions of gratitude and quiet relief. The scene is filled with emotional anticipation as people begin to understand that the food supplies brought by Ronaldo's initiative could mean the difference between life and death for many of them. The aid workers and local volunteers move quickly to unload the trucks, working tirelessly to set up a system for distributing the food. Each family is given a token, ensuring that the process is organized and fair. Volunteers carry sacks of rice, boxes of canned goods, and bottles of cooking oil to designated areas, stacking them neatly for distribution. Nutritional supplements, such as protein biscuits and milk powder, are set aside for children and vulnerable individuals. The sight of these supplies brings tears of joy to some of the villagers, who had feared they would never see such abundance again. As the distribution begins, the focus shifts to individual families receiving their portions. A mother of 3, who had been struggling to keep her children alive, breaks down in tears as she receives her allotment. "This is a blessing," she says, clutching the bag of rice and oil to her chest. Another family, who had been surviving on scraps and handouts, finally smiles as they prepare to take their share of the food. These moments, filled with raw emotion, underscore the profound impact of the aid on the lives of those in the region. Children, many of whom had not had a proper meal in days, are seen eagerly holding their packets of biscuits and milk powder. The joy on their faces is infectious as they gather around, opening the packets and sharing with one another. For the first time in a long while, the sounds of laughter and chatter fill the air, replacing the silence and despair that once dominated the community. The food distribution becomes more than just a practical relief effort. It becomes a moment of communal bonding and shared hope. Amid the bustling activity, aid workers emphasize the importance of sustainability. They share basic information on how to stretch the supplies and prepare balanced meals to make the most of a donation. Families listen attentively, appreciating the guidance that accompanies the resources. The distribution center becomes a hub of positivity, where people not only receive the essentials they need to survive, but also experience a renewed sense of dignity and connection. As the sun sets, the trucks, now empty, begin their journey back. But the impact of their arrival lingers in the community. Families return to their homes, their burdens slightly lighter, their hearts filled with gratitude. The day concludes with scenes of people preparing meals, children eating heartily, and parents breathing a sigh of relief. For the residents, this is more than just food. It is a lifeline, a reminder that they are not forgotten and that there are people in the world who care deeply about their plight. As the food supplies are distributed among the famine-struck families, a special moment unfolds that touches the hearts of everyone present. A large screen is set up at the distribution center, and the community gathers around to hear a personal message from Cristiano Ronaldo himself. The video begins with an image of Ronaldo, dressed simply in a casual shirt, seated in what appears to be a modest, quiet room. His demeanor is warm and genuine, reflecting his deep empathy for the people he is addressing. Ronaldo starts his message by greeting the community in a respectful and heartfelt manner, acknowledging the immense challenges they have endured. His words are sincere, and his tone is one of solidarity rather than sympathy, as he emphasizes that he sees their struggle and admires their resilience. "I know the past weeks and months have been incredibly difficult for you and your families," he says, his voice steady but emotional. "I want you to know that you are not alone, and the world cares about you." He goes on to explain why he felt compelled to act. Ronaldo speaks about how, as a father, he couldn't ignore the plight of children suffering from hunger and malnutrition. He shares that seeing their faces in the news reports touched him deeply and made him realize that he had the power and responsibility to help. His message is not just about offering material aid, but also about extending hope and reminding the community of their inherent worth and dignity. In the video, Ronaldo expresses his gratitude to the humanitarian organization and the local volunteers who worked tirelessly to ensure the aid reached the region. He acknowledges their efforts and emphasizes that this initiative was a team effort involving many compassionate individuals. By sharing this, he highlights the importance of collective action and encourages everyone watching to continue supporting one another. Ronaldo also uses this moment to inspire others to step forward and help. He calls on the global community to recognize the importance of empathy and generosity. "This is not just my effort. It's something we can all do together," he says. Small acts of kindness, when multiplied, can create a ripple effect that changes the world. "I hope this inspires others to lend a helping hand wherever they can." The message ends on a hopeful and uplifting note. Ronaldo smiles warmly and tells the community that brighter days are ahead. "Please stay strong and united. This is a tough time, but together, we can overcome it. I believe in your strength and resilience." He concludes by sending his blessings and love to everyone in the region, leaving them with a sense of encouragement and solidarity. As the video fades out, the crowd applauds and cheers. For many, hearing directly from Ronaldo, a global icon, feels deeply personal and affirming. His message is not just words on a screen. It is a connection that transcends barriers of geography and status. It reminds the community that they are seen, valued, and supported by someone who genuinely cares. This moment adds a powerful emotional layer to the food distribution. Ronaldo's words resonate deeply, lifting the spirits of the community and reinforcing the idea that they are not forgotten. His personal involvement humanizes the act of giving, turning what could have been a simple charitable donation into a meaningful act of compassion that leaves a lasting impact on the hearts and minds of those he helped. The arrival of food supplies and the personal involvement of Cristiano Ronaldo leave a profound and lasting impact on the famine-struck community. For families who have been living in a state of desperation, the donation is more than just sustenance. It represents hope, dignity, and the reassurance that their struggles are not invisible to the world. The effects of this humanitarian act ripple through the community in ways that go far beyond the immediate relief of hunger. For many parents, the donation lifts a heavy emotional and physical burden. Before the supplies arrived, they had spent their days searching tirelessly for food, scavenging whatever meager resources they could find, often sacrificing their own portions to ensure their children could eat. With the food now in their hands, these parents can finally breathe a sigh of relief. They are seen preparing meals for their families, a task that once felt impossible. The scenes of mothers cooking with oil and rice, and children gathering around to eat, mark the return of a sense of normalcy that had been absent for far too long. Children, who are often the most vulnerable in times of famine, experience an immediate transformation. Many of them had been suffering from severe malnutrition, their energy levels depleted, and their health deteriorating. The arrival of high-protein biscuits, milk powder, and other nutritional supplements brings a visible change. In the days following the distribution, children are seen playing together, laughing, and regaining the vitality that had been stolen by hunger. Their parents notice the difference almost immediately, expressing their gratitude through smiles and heartfelt words. For these children, the food supplies not only nourish their bodies but also restore their childhood. Beyond the physical relief, the donation fosters a renewed sense of unity and hope within the community. The act of distributing the food becomes a collective experience, bringing people together in a shared moment of joy and relief. Families who had been isolated by the weight of their struggles now find comfort in connecting with others who share their gratitude and renewed optimism. The community begins to rebuild its spirit, finding strength in the knowledge that they are not alone in their fight for survival. Ronaldo's personal message also plays a critical role in shaping the community's emotional recovery. His words remind them that they are valued and that their resilience has been seen and admired by the world. This recognition is particularly meaningful for a community that had felt forgotten and abandoned. The residents take pride in their ability to endure, and Ronaldo's acknowledgement of their strength becomes a source of empowerment. The aid doesn't just provide temporary relief, it lays the groundwork for future resilience. Local aid organizations, inspired by Ronaldo's involvement, step up their efforts, collaborating with the community to explore sustainable solutions. Workshops are organized to educate families on how to maximize the use of the donated food and plan meals effectively. There's also a focus on creating longer-term strategies, such as teaching basic agricultural techniques or introducing small-scale farming initiatives to ensure the community can gradually move towards self-sufficiency. This act of kindness also sparks a ripple effect, inspiring others beyond the immediate region. Stories of Ronaldo's donation and its impact spread globally, encouraging more individuals and organizations to contribute to famine relief efforts. Media coverage highlights the importance of compassion and responsibility, showing how one person's decision to act can transform lives. Ronaldo's influence not only helps this specific community, but also shines a spotlight on the broader issue of global hunger, inspiring a wave of generosity and action. In the end, the impact on the community is multifaceted. The food supplies bring immediate physical relief. Ronaldo's involvement uplifts their spirits, and the entire experience strengthens their unity and hope for the future. It serves as a reminder of the profound difference that compassion and action can make, even in the face of the most daunting challenges. Cristiano Ronaldo's act of generosity doesn't remain confined to the famine-struck region. It quickly garners global attention, becoming a symbol of compassion and humanity. News outlets across the world begin reporting on Ronaldo's donation of food supplies, and the story resonates deeply with audiences from all walks of life. Media headlines highlight not just his celebrity status, but the impact of his actions, emphasizing how one individual's efforts can bring hope to an entire community. The story spreads rapidly through both traditional and social media platforms. Prominent newspapers and TV channels cover the news, showing footage of the food distribution, interviews with aid workers, and the heartfelt reactions of the beneficiaries. Photos of Ronaldo's trucks arriving in the region, emblazoned with a discreet acknowledgement of his contribution, become iconic. His personal video message, recorded for the community, is shared widely on social media platforms, where it garners millions of views and heartfelt comments from fans and followers. In addition to the general public, high-profile personalities, including other athletes, celebrities, and global leaders, take notice of Ronaldo's gesture. Many commend him publicly, praising not only his generosity, but also his humility and empathy. They highlight how Ronaldo has set an example for others in positions of influence, encouraging them to leverage their resources and platforms for the betterment of society. Several sports organizations and football clubs also express their admiration, using their platforms to amplify the message of hope and solidarity that Ronaldo's action represents. Humanitarian organizations and charities working in famine relief see a positive ripple effect. Inspired by Ronaldo's example, more individuals and corporations begin to contribute to similar causes, donating money, food, and resources to help those in need. Some organizations even launch campaigns under hashtags like #FollowRonaldoSLead, encouraging collective action to address hunger crises worldwide. This collective momentum underscores how a single act of kindness can inspire widespread change. The recognition also extends to discussions about the role of athletes and celebrities in humanitarian efforts. Analysts and commentators reflect on how Ronaldo has shattered stereotypes about athletes being solely focused on fame and wealth. They emphasize how his actions embody the values of responsibility, compassion, and global citizenship, making him a role model not just in sports but in life. Talk shows and podcasts explore the broader implications of his gesture, discussing how the sports community can contribute to solving pressing global challenges. Fans of Ronaldo from across the globe express immense pride in their idol. Social media platforms are flooded with posts celebrating his humanitarian efforts, with hashtags like #RonaldoForHope and #HumanityFirst trending for days. Many fans share their own stories of how Ronaldo has inspired them, not just on the field but in their personal lives, to be kinder, more compassionate, and more willing to help those in need. Some even begin organizing small fundraising drives and community service projects in his honor. The global recognition also strengthens Ronaldo's reputation as more than just a football icon. It highlights his character and values, cementing his legacy as someone who uses his influence and wealth to uplift others. For many, this act of kindness adds a deeply personal dimension to their admiration for him. It shows that beneath his immense success lies a heart that genuinely cares about making the world a better place. What makes this recognition particularly impactful is that Ronaldo does not seek it. His act of giving is not about garnering accolades or enhancing his public image. It is about making a tangible difference in the lives of people who are suffering. This authenticity is what resonates most with the global audience. People see Ronaldo's act not as a publicity stunt, but as a genuine, selfless gesture. And this authenticity only amplifies the admiration and respect directed toward him. In the end, the global recognition of Ronaldo's gesture becomes a powerful narrative that transcends the immediate act of donating food. It sparks conversations about humanity, generosity, and the responsibility of the privileged to help the less fortunate. Ronaldo's story becomes an enduring example of how one individual, regardless of their background, can inspire the world to come together and create a lasting impact. The impact of Ronaldo's donation of food supplies goes far beyond the immediate relief provided to the famine-struck community. While the initial wave of aid brings vital sustenance to families, it also lays the foundation for longer-term positive changes that ripple through the region. The food distribution serves as a catalyst for further efforts, both within the community and globally, to address the root causes of hunger and create sustainable solutions for future generations. One of the most significant long-term effects is the renewed sense of hope and empowerment that the community gains. For families who had been on the brink of despair, the food aid is not just about surviving in the present moment. It reignites their belief in the possibility of a better future. With the physical nourishment provided, families are now able to refocus on their long-term well-being. Parents can think beyond daily survival, and children regain their health, allowing them to pursue education and dreams that seemed out of reach just days before. This shift in mindset is a crucial first step toward building a resilient, self-sufficient community. As a result of Ronaldo's involvement, new initiatives begin to take shape, both at the grassroots and organizational levels. The local authorities and humanitarian organizations, now inspired by the success of the immediate aid effort, start planning for the future. They recognize the need for more sustainable forms of support, including long-term food security programs, agricultural training, and economic empowerment projects. Workshops and skill-building programs are launched to help families learn how to grow their own food, manage small businesses, and improve their livelihoods. This shift from short-term relief to long-term solutions helps the community build resilience, reducing their dependence on external aid in the future. Ronaldo's actions also have a ripple effect on global organizations and other philanthropists. His hands-on involvement and the scale of his donation bring much-needed attention to the issue of famine and food insecurity worldwide. As a result, more funds are allocated to humanitarian initiatives focused on long-term development, such as sustainable agriculture and community infrastructure projects. International donors and corporations, motivated by Ronaldo's example, begin to invest more heavily in initiatives that aim to eliminate the root causes of hunger, such as poverty, poor infrastructure, and lack of education. The increased attention to these systemic issues helps foster a more collaborative approach to solving global food crises. Furthermore, the success of this initiative encourages Ronaldo to expand his philanthropic efforts in other regions facing similar challenges. Inspired by the positive outcomes in the famine-struck community, he works closely with humanitarian organizations to replicate the success in other parts of the world. His charity team begins to focus on long-term initiatives that address food insecurity, healthcare, and education. Ronaldo's name, already synonymous with sporting excellence, is now also associated with humanitarian work on a global scale. Ronaldo's message of hope and solidarity continues to resonate with people beyond the affected region. His willingness to take action personally and publicly sets an example for others, particularly those in the entertainment and sports industries. It sparks a movement among athletes, celebrities, and business leaders to use their platforms for good, inspiring them to invest in social causes and make a meaningful difference in the lives of those less fortunate. The story of his donation serves as a model for how those with resources can leverage their influence to address global challenges. Another long-term effect of Ronaldo's donation is the deepening of his relationship with his fans. People who have followed his career for years now see him in a new light, not just as a football superstar, but as a compassionate individual dedicated to making a real difference. This strengthens his legacy as a role model for not only aspiring athletes, but also for people everywhere who are motivated to give back to their communities. His example challenges people to reconsider what it means to be successful, encouraging them to think beyond personal achievement and towards collective well-being. In summary, the long-term positive effects of Ronaldo's food donation go well beyond the immediate crisis. It sparks an ongoing cycle of empowerment, self-sufficiency, and collaboration within the community. It also mobilizes global support and encourages long-term, systemic changes to tackle the root causes of hunger and poverty. Through his actions, Ronaldo sets in motion a movement that challenges others to follow suit and work together to create a better future for those in need.